Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 267 of our trip around the United States. Yesterday, we completed the state of Missouri, finishing off the last finds that we needed to complete all of the counties and all of the pages for the state. That's it, we're done. At the end of that completion, today was supposed to be an admin day. I'm supposed to be taking the day off today, doing all the work that I need to do to catch up before we start into Kansas tomorrow. I changed that plan a little bit. I still took the admin day, but instead of taking the full day today, I sliced yesterday in half and I sliced today in half. And that way, I still get an adventure on both days and was able to get all of our work done last night. We are caught up and ready to hit the road for Kansas tomorrow. Yes. But before we do that, since we still have time to play today, we're going to do exactly that. We are here just on the edge of Kansas City, a city with a population of 500,000 people. I'm going to tell you right now, there is way too much to see and do here in the city for us in one day. In fact, it would probably take several days for us to get to all the sites we want to see. Instead of trying to do everything, we're going to do a few of the new virtuals that have published, challenges at the edge of the city, and when the sun starts to set, we are going to call it a day. So let's go take a tour of the Country Club. Let's see what downtown Kansas City has to offer. Let's grab some challenges, and let's wrap up our last day here in Missouri with a bang. Come on, let's get out there and do this. Let's go.
Today, we will explore Kansas City, beginning right here in the Country Club Plaza, a privately owned regional shopping center that opened in 1923, over 100 years ago, as the first planned suburban shopping center to cater to shoppers arriving by car. At the time, no other shopping center in the world had been built specifically to accommodate shoppers arriving by automobile. It was also the first ever suburban center to feature a unified architectural style, using the Baroque Revival and Moorish Revival styles to create a Spanish feel. Since it was designed in 1922, it has been featured as an open-air public art gallery with a continuously rotating collection of fountains, sculptures, and murals that bring the best of the old and the new world together. The Country Club Plaza came into existence as the brainchild of J.C. Nichols, who began to acquire the land all the way back in 1907. When he officially announced his grandiose plan, his project was dubbed as Nichols Folly, because the land was known for little more than pig farming and not seen as a desirable location for people to come visit and shop. Despite the misgivings of the public, he continued to press forward and, upon opening in 1923, experienced immediate success. For its first 40 years, the plaza featured a mix of high-end retail businesses, mid-level stores, and even grocery stores to serve the daily needs of the residents who lived in the district. By the 1970s, though, the landscape began to change as many of those mid-level retailers began to move to suburban shopping malls. Those spaces were quickly filled by luxury hotels like the Ritz-Carlton, upscale retailers like Gucci, Polo Ralph Lauren, and Saks Fifth Avenue, and unique-to-market stores like Tiffany's, Michael Kors, Tommy Bahama, and Free People. Since its opening in 1923, the Country Club Plaza has continued to improve and evolve with the times, making it one of the longest-lived of any planned shopping centers ever created. While there are no physical geocaches or even Adventure Lab stages anywhere in the Country Club Plaza, there is one virtual that was released with the first wave of virtuals back in 2017. It consists of a total of 35 waypoints, pointing out statues, fountains, and other objects of interest scattered throughout the Country Club Plaza, including things like the Spanish bullfighter mural, Michelangelo's An Apprentice, and the Fountain of Neptune. Now, of course, if this virtual were 35 stages long, I would have skipped it outright without a second thought. However, the requirement to complete it is actually quite simple. All you need to do is visit any one of these 35 waypoints and take a distinctive picture letting the cache owner know that you were physically there. That's it, any one of 35 stages and a picture. So, how did I approach this virtual? Well, by taking on all 35 waypoints, of course! Finally, after a couple of hours spent exploring the Country Club Plaza, we make it into the downtown Kansas City area, the largest city in Missouri, both by population and by area. This city, now with over 500,000 people living here, was initially founded in 1830 as a port on the Missouri River at its confluence with the Kansas River. It was not until 4 years after the founding of the city that the Kansas Territory was established. To alleviate confusion with the territory of Kansas, the city was renamed as Kansas City. And while some of Kansas City does exist in Kansas, as the city grew over both sides of the river, most of the population is located on the Missouri side of the bank. Making our way into the downtown area, there were a few stops that we had to make along the way, starting with the Scout, a 10-foot-tall Sioux Indian on horseback surveying the landscape of Kansas City spread out below him from the hillside. Heading over to Concourse Park, we stop in to visit the John F. Kennedy American Legion Memorial. Dedicated on May 29th of 1965 with over 600 people in attendance, this monument consists of a 9-foot sandstone pillar with a profile of President John F. Kennedy. Then we head over to Penn Valley Park to visit the Firefighters Fountain and Memorial. This is a collaborative effort from many private sources that pays tribute to the men and women of the city's firefighters and memorializes those who have given their lives in the line of duty. The fountain was first constructed in 1991 to honor 6 firefighters who were killed in an explosion in 1988. In 2015, the memorial was rededicated, including the installation of walls featuring the names of additional firefighters lost. On the other end of Penn Valley Park, we trek out to visit the Pioneer Mother Memorial, dedicated on November 11th of 1927. This nearly 100-year-old memorial overlooking the city pays tribute to mothers who made the arduous trip west to seek better lives for their family. This 13-foot-tall bronze statue depicts a woman perched side saddle on a mount, holding an infant in her arms. She is flanked on each side by men with rifles, guiding the tired pack horse. She gazes forward into the distance, clearly exhausted, but with a grim determination to continue on. For our final stop on this tour of Kansas City, we come to the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Originally opened in 1926 as the Liberty Memorial, it was redesignated by Congress in 2004 as the country's official war memorial and museum dedicated to World War I. This awe-inspiring memorial began as an idea when a group of 40 prominent Kansas City residents came together to form the Liberty Memorial Association. In 1919, they hosted a fund drive to help raise money for the memorial and were blown away by the response they received. In less than 2 weeks, over 83,000 people had donated more than $2.5 million, what equates to more than $42 million today. At the groundbreaking ceremony in November of 1921, more than 200,000 people showed up to attend, including Vice President Calvin Coolidge. And the veteran who presented the flags to the commanders that day would go on to be the 33rd President of the United States, Harry Truman. Completing our tour of the downtown Kansas City area, Aichan and I decide to finally do some real geocaching for the day. Just north of the city is a series of challenges that requires geocachers to complete a variety of tasks. Some are relatively simple, like geocachers having to complete an entire geocaching calendar or having found so many geocaches in a day. Many of the challenges require traveling in some way, shape, or form, such as having geocached in capital cities throughout the country. While some of those requirements too were simple, like having geocached in so many countries, some of them were quite complex, including one that requires you to have found geocaches in counties connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. No problem for us, of course. Having completed all of the challenges we were aiming at, we make our way through Kansas, stopping through Parkville at the English Landing Park. The 68 acres that this park rests on was once part of the low water area of the Missouri River. The history of the park can be traced back to even before the founding of the city, when Colonel George Park, a veteran of the Texas War of Independence, purchased the land from the English brothers. Here he established a riverboat landing, which became the present-day area for the park. The city itself followed after years later, also founded by Colonel Park in 1844. Whether you're just looking to fool around on the playground or here to enjoy the great outdoors, this park has a certain undeniable allure to it. The scenic walking trails parallel the course of the winding Missouri River, giving you a view out over the water the entire time you were out here. Aichan and I both agreed that this was the perfect place to close out our time spent here in Missouri. While taking our walk along the trail, enjoying the last of the beauty Missouri had to offer for us, we continued to glance across the river, ready for Kansas ahead.
And so ends the Missouri chapter of our adventure as Aichan and I continue to travel across the United States in pursuit of every county in the lower page in the lower 48. We began our morning in the Country Club Plaza on the southeast side of Kansas City, and we had a great time getting to explore all the statues, fountains, murals, and other interesting things they had there in the plaza. From there, we worked our way pretty well north through Kansas City. We got to see several great sights, again, more murals, and once we finished up in the city, we came to the outskirts and were able to run through the challenges that we had put off from yesterday. We found all the ones we were aiming for and still managed to finish up with a little bit of daylight on our side. This is the end of Missouri, but it is the beginning of Kansas, just across the river, waiting for us to come explore it. Tomorrow morning, when that sun rises, rest assured, we will be starting fresh in Kansas, ready to take on the next leg of this adventure. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.